Welcome back to Turks and Jurks. It's time for our Jurks segment.
Yes.
Francis and JR. So we managed to find our way through the positives somehow, even though some of them were mixed with some negatives. Your Turk could have easily been a jerk. That's the thing. That's what's funny about it. Always unpredictable from JR's picks.
Yeah.
But your jerk, though, what are we expecting here? I had a sense before you even sent the email that something that was just taking Twitter by storm is why? Why are they doing this?
Is it going that way too? I'm glad everyone else
everyone's calling it out. It's
two-point conversions when it's absolutely unnecessary, or when you think or you're overthinking it. We complain about a lot of things with football. What does that coach do? I can't believe he didn't call time out here. Oh, what about that clock management here? So we complain a lot. But this seems to be pretty straightforward. In fact, there's a graph that they put together, so you don't have to think too hard when you should go for two, depending on what score you have. Every scoring situation, every scoring difference, every number you have tells you if you should go for two or not.
Yeah.
When it's 0-0, I have a good answer. No. And then after you score your 6 points to open up the game, let's go ahead and say it, Mike Tomlin, and you're up 6-0, you kick the extra point. I don't know if your kicker had a bad knee. I don't know what's going on. But you go for two. And to prove that your kicker actually didn't have a bad knee, can we see the quote, please? He's going to talk about what happened. We all know, first of all, that the Cowboys won this game. But Tomlin said, we want to be aggressive. It's not out of line with our personality. Not only recently, but in recent years, I've been doing these stupid things. So they went up 6-0, didn't get the 2-point conversion. And then what happens after that, when you score again and you're about to be up 12, you're about to score 12 points. Now you have to chase.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, well, let's even it out now. It seemed like we had 2 extra points and we're up 14. We have 14 points now. No, they missed that one too. So then at the end of the first quarter, it was 12-10. They only had a 2-point lead. Rest of that half, only in the second quarter, each team scored 3 points. Now, I know that the Cowboys end up winning by 5 at the end, so you're talking about this 1 extra point, but that changes the flow of the game.
Absolutely.
It changes the way other teams go after it. And they lost the game, right? But even in a win, this isn't just Mike Tomlin, so I'm sorry. I actually like Mike Tomlin.
Yeah.
My favorite coach in the NFL, because he was my favorite coach in college when he coached the Trojans, because we were back-to-back national champions.
If you didn't,
we repeated almost a three-peat, Carol.
Yeah.
Is now in Seattle, as everyone knows, and he also at the end of the game,
Yeah, he did.
His Seahawks went up 7 points when they scored the touchdown, 31-24. You kick an extra point or you go for 2. No one's really thinking about going for 2 except for Pete Carroll, who says, you know what, I'm going to go up to 9. Let's go up to 9 instead of 8, because that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So if you're already pressuring the Patriots, who seemingly move the ball pretty easily against any team they play, you give them a little bit of time, and all they need is an extra point to tie the game.
Yeah.
At least put the pressure on them to go for 2 to tie the game.
Yeah, exactly.
Are you kidding me? I don't understand it. But so then, of course, in pure Seattle, New England recent history, the game comes down to a goal line stand. And it worked out for Seattle, but it shouldn't have.
No.
Tom Brady fumbled a snap, which would have easily gotten in the end zone. LeGarrette Blount couldn't jump over the pile. I mean, okay, great defensive stand by Seattle. But you don't put them in a position where they can easily tie the game. Is he looking for another overtime game? I'm not sure what's going on. I know a friend in Seattle who's very upset about how Seattle gives her a heart attack every year, every week. I think he just wants that now.
I don't know if it's this new trend. Like, that way everyone likes to be gluten-free now. Everyone's like, let's just get, like, I can have something that's so delicious in front of me. I have no allergies, but I'm just going to be gluten-free to go along with the trend. But this is something that I've kind of struggled with ever since I became infatuated with the sport, is the necessity to go for 2. I understand. If you're trailing and it's a necessity, and as you mentioned, the facts and figures are there and tell you when you have to go. It's numerically in front of you. Oh, right, we're down by 2 by some way, whatever, we need to go for 2 here and level this game up. But you're putting yourself into an unnecessary situation. That's what Seattle did early on, is they tried to be ahead of the trend. They try to, if it works in reverse, everyone's like, well, now the Patriots, they have that in the back of their mind, because you're right, it's a mental thing. It's not as much so that you're an extra point ahead. It's how it will adjust your opponent's game plan. Now they're at the advantage because they don't need to worry so much. They can gain an extra point on you because you've thrown away an extra chance to be ahead. But with Pete Carroll, it's something I didn't expect. I mean, he's a very intelligent coach, one of the favorites. With Tomlin, it's still ridiculous to me. But it's the fact is you put yourself, as you mentioned, the Seattle fan talked about it, is an unnecessary situation where your whole game plan now needs to work around preventing instead of just playing your own game. You now need to. It worked out for them in the end. because they had to be overzealous in their protection to try and stop the game from being tied up, which worked out. But you don't need to put yourself in that situation. You don't need. I don't know if it's this weird, like broader plan that Pete Carroll had. Maybe when they go into the playoffs and people are thinking, they're going to go for 2 here. They're going to go for 2, and they just have teams on edge. I don't know, but it's a strange one, and it's been happening more often than not.
He's got to worry about winning the division first, which isn't that good of a division in the first place.
Exactly.
And also, what was it, a 6-3 loss to my Rams? It's a damn shame. Just the fact. It's so frustrating. I don't understand it, man. Make your life easy, a little bit easier. Yeah. It's already hard enough in coaching the NFL. It's already hard enough to win.
My jerk is like a team that, at this point, you can count them out if you're making any sort of movement towards the playoffs. But the San Diego Chargers find a new way to depress their fans. Like they just find. I know San Diego Chargers fans. A lot of them are very close to me, and they're like the way Jason talks about the Knicks, and it's just an automatic head drop pessimism. It's the way I'm getting this sense from Chargers fans, and it's not new, of course, but this was a new level. You have a punt return which the Dolphins fumble near enough on their own goal line, fumble in front. You then get a flag for holding, right? So you've just got as many advantages as you possibly can. And then Rivers throws an end zone interception, and the Chargers go on to lose a game that. It was gift wrapped, an early Christmas present in front of them. And I'm thinking to myself, like, this team, they were going through turmoil. There was talk about moving them out of San Diego into Los Angeles so that they can be in a town, whether we have a rivalry to Los Angeles teams. So they're obviously trying to hold on to the NFL team. And the fans just don't have that much to root for anymore. They showed some promise early on. They had some signs of being a competitive team in a division where they have talent, they have decent players in there, they have a decent quarterback, but it seems like you don't want to put it all on luck, but it just seems like when you can be the most unlucky team, like you're going to go through a transition of being the unluckiest.
It's almost like they ignore that their luck is bad, so they continue to just play normally. Almost to the point where you're like, okay, we're an unlucky team. Let's start doing things to make sure. Start going for 2 when it doesn't make any sense.
Go for 2 points.
Yeah. Maybe start changing the dynamic of each game you end up in.
Yeah, it's a tough one, and it's. This example as well, like these things happen in football, but when you're gift-wrapped an opportunity, it seems like more often than not this weekend we did see a lot of goal line possibilities be turned away. And that can be from a fantastic defense, it can be from other advantages, but this was just an interception that clearly shouldn't have been thrown. I mean, I've always had a strong view that, yeah, you want to throw and you want to find the easy outlet, but when you're that close, just run the ball. Like, I don't understand it, just run the ball. If you have the ability to do so, just run it. The Dolphins were clearly on the back foot, startled by the fact that they had a punt return, fumbled near enough in their own end zone. But the San Diego Chargers find new ways to plummet their fans.
There's a mental attack mode you have to be in. You know, these guys are shaking at the moment, which, I mean, the Chargers should be used to that because they're usually the ones that are shaking, like, oh, no, not again.
Yeah, exactly.
And if you're in that mode, you got to finish it off.
But they don't look confident either. Like, I feel like the mentality around San Diego of a team that may be taken out of their city and moved elsewhere and nothing's going right, I feel that plays into the mentality of these players. There's some veteran, experienced players in there. But I didn't think they looked confident. I didn't think Phillip Rivers looked confident. And you could say that there wasn't enough people open and his receivers never moved. But when you throw an interception at that point, when the game can literally be turned on its head, you just got to look at this team and think, what else could be going wrong? And
can I have 2 small news and notes that aren't associated with the Turk and Jerk part? Just I want to point out.
Yeah.
Now that the Browns obviously can't win, this is the point of the season when I start rooting for just don't win. I mean, why not? Let's see it. Let's check it out. And the heartbreak of the week, I got to mention the Saints because Dan is in the room. How the Saints had an extra point. They went the right way.
Yeah.
An extra point blocked in the game, returned for a 2-point conversion. They lose by 2 because that sucks.
Yeah.
Just wanted to point those 2 things out because that's how life is in the NFL. And also, Green Bay Packers suck. I was really trying to figure out exactly what is wrong. And again, I was flipping at the beginning of the game, and I look up, and they're down 14-0. I didn't know what happened.
It seems like we're finding more ways to there's a lot more candidates for Jurks than there is for Turks, it seems, when I've been on here.
Good for me.
Yeah, the Vikings, if you guys have known and followed, they're a team that I naturally root for when I first came to America. One of my best friends in college was from Minnesota. I was a big fan, got me hooked on them. And I followed them along, so I'm a big fan of Adrian Peterson's antics on the field. But then when you see them this season, they have everything possible falling apart. and then they go on to go 5-0 early on, and they look like they can be dominant, and now they've lost the last 4. They can't run the ball. The defensive line can't block. Their offensive line can't block. They're not protecting their quarterback, and the wheels are falling off, and it's just a sad day.
When Brad Sanford does not have time.
Yes.
I've personally experienced what happens when Brad Sanford can't do anything with the ball, and this is what happens.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate. But I'm sure you've got many more jerks that you can leave in the comment section. Make sure to tweet them at JR. What's your Twitter handle again, JR? It's
Jayar Jackson.
At JR
Oh,
Jackson.
man.
Lucky enough to
On
have
all of them. I stretch it all.
Well, you're lucky enough. I'm not popular enough. I need to have underscores and numbers.
Or
and
you're
whatever
that
else.
popular that other people took your name.
No,
on.
this is the thing though. This is the side note, and I've already expressed it to the audience. But since I've not told you, that I actually made a Twitter account when I was in college back in 2009 that has Francis Maxwell as a name, and I've spent the last 2 years vindicating this Francis Maxwell on Twitter because I thought it was someone that just made the account to block me from getting it. It's me, and it's an email that no longer exists. So I'm locked out forever. Twitter won't answer my calls, and I will be.
Forgot?
I'm going to be Francis_Maxwell on my wedding day. My wife is going to be _Maxwell, and that's the way it's going to go. Peace.